Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss, and I have a very, very funny comedian. One of my favorites, actually. If you're not subscribed to any of his social media, do it now. He always has great live videos, unbelievable, funny posts, funny, 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 funny. I actually just saw him on Parks and Rec. He's a series like he's on like once every other episode. He plays Sewage Joe, one of my favorite characters ever on television. Let's welcome Kirk Fox. Kurt, welcome to MFSN, and
he almost forgot our show name right there.
yeah, no kidding. I'm trying to get all the plugs in.
I still don't know what the show name is, but I'm also trying to close this up so I don't have to see the countdown number.
No, don't worry about the clock, Kurt. We'll stay here for 2 hours if we need to. No problem, Kurt. You're one of my favorite stand-ups. I've seen you on all the major talk shows. I've seen your senior specials. I know your material inside and out. How are you adjusting to this pandemic? Are you doing these Zoom shows, which I'm not a big fan of? Are you doing the drive-in theaters? I mean, how are you coping through this whole pandemic? Tell me.
Well, first of all, you're coming at me so fast. I'm going to have to just take a breath so that I feel present here. And the pandemic, I like. It seems to be. It seems to be my wheelhouse. I wasn't doing anything before the pandemic hit, so I'm consistent with that. I haven't done any Zoom shows. I don't think I ever will. My wife is trying to get me to do one for the school that my child attends, and I'm fighting it. I don't think any of my material will make it, and then I feel I'll be kicked out of school. I've done one car show, and no one really laughed much, and so I did it again, and I confirmed it that I'm pretty much out of the business. So when you're telling people how funny I am, they're not going to see it here.
Well, let me ask you something. Did they honk or did they shine their brights when he told a joke? How did it work?
I told them immediately not to acknowledge me. I don't like honking. I don't like the lights. I have tinnitus. So,
Okay.
I probably went in there with the wrong attitude, Ross. I just wanted them to drive away, which probably isn't the way these shows should work.
No, I don't think that's the philosophy. I think they do it so people are laughing in their car, not driving away angry because the comedian didn't have any jokes.
Yes, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I think you did the whole thing wrong. I don't understand what you were doing. But that all being said, are you playing any tennis? Tell the audience, how good of a tennis player were you back in your 20s and teens?
Well, I feel I'm still in my 20s and teens, and I don't want to have to tell the audience anything.
Well, I'm asking you a question. I know how good you were.
First of all, Ross, you're still coming at me hot. No one wants to be told what to do, especially in a medium where I can just close the computer and go back to happiness and silence. So I think you should maybe slow it down and let's just try and massage the room. I don't even remember your last question. Was it tennis related?
I got my therapist with me. My co-host is Dr. Dan Ratner. He's a licensed
Ross,
therapist.
I
he's
should
actually credited.
I think I need to take over here a bit because
I think you might. I'm a little too high strung right now.
I'm good at understanding where someone is, especially if they tell me directly. And Kirk just told me we got to slow this down. We got to be in the moment together, right? Let's slow this down.
I'm just a simple monk. When Ross has been asking me for a long time to be on this show, I didn't know that suddenly I was going to be forced to do a dance.
I know. He used to have this like interrogation light, but we took it away from him because that was just not cool.
Ross,
So wait.
I play tennis maybe once a month now. I used to play every day.
I remember.
How good was I in the past? Probably the best in the world. I just had other interests. I didn't really want to be anywhere. I'm sure your therapist, that's a nice trigger point for him. I'm sure he'll jump in and say that that's a bad thing. But then the more he thinks about it, it might be how he wishes he could live.
No, see, I was going to say you are adapting to the pandemic better than anyone I know. It's almost like you were waiting for it, and I think that's good. But I wanted to hear more about this kid of yours and the fact that you were going to you were trying to be urged to bring some of your material, which I imagine I have seen some of your material. I imagine it would not be particularly appropriate unless your daughter is 38. I think below that it's
I have to tell you, most of my material is geared to someone under 5. So the problem with the parents is most of them are at least over 20. The new hour I'm working on, a lot of it deals with sexual predatoring. So the idea of getting in front of a bunch of parents and talking about my wheelhouse and how I'm fighting those urges might not be, conducive.
Yeah, but it might make the cars just drive away, which is part of your goal.
Yeah, but they would be out of their cars.
That's true.
But
Fair
as a
point.
therapist, you should know that I'm going to try and do it because it's important to do things you don't want to do in life, because that's when you grow.
I understand.
I like this, and you're I understand you are friends with Dr. Phil. Did you get this from him?
Did I get what?
This wisdom, this ability.
This
Yes.
wisdom is just a simple approach to life. I just want to be an asset. Everything I do is with the sincere aspiration to leave the room better than when I arrived. So did I get that from Phil? No, I just got that from caring about humanity.
You are the humanitarian. I mean, you've always been into all the human rights and what's going on in the world. That's why we all love Kirk Fox for that
Well,
reason.
when you say human rights, I don't know if what you're referring to. Human rights are just kindness.
Kindness.
I don't know what's going on in the world.
None of us do, Kurt. It's a crazy world we live in. It's topsy-turvy. We have no idea what's happening right now. I'm just excited that sports is being played. We can watch basketball. We can watch football. We can watch tennis. Tennis is playing in Australia, which we're
Like that,
excited
Ross.
about.
I like how you've brought it back to sports, man.
That's what I like to do, pal. Talking about sports.
I had a talk show once, and
I remember the talk show. I remember that talk show, and you were the lie detector. I love that talk show. I used to watch it, and you did not have the mustache. The mustache did not make an appearance on the talk show, and I think that's the reason the talk show was canceled, because the mustache was not on the talk show. And I told you to keep the mustache, and you refused.
Well, Ross, do you think it was me that refused that mustache, or possibly CBS? I love my mustache. I know it's my asset.
That is your asset. That mustache. I'd rather book the mustache than you sometimes. Trust me.
Yeah, the mustache is real. The rest of me,
I love it.
fake. So the bottom line is, I'd still be on that talk show if I didn't have to wear a suit. If I had my mustache.
I used to call you and tell you about it.
I wasn't married at the time, and I didn't have a child, so I had no basis for my hate.
How is your marriage coming on? I mean, you're spending a lot of time at home. I see your wife sometimes on your live streams. How is your marriage holding off with this whole pandemic and you being at home like every day?
I got to tell you, I have no idea. I don't talk to her, and that seems to be a nice lane for me. I do like the child. The child seems to be growing.
How old?
Happening at the right moments. But I will tell you this, Ross, because you care. But the other day, my 2.5-year-old told me she hated me. And what I liked about that is it only took my wife a year.
Right. So she got there in 2.5.
I got another 1.5 years out of the child.
Let me ask
So
you
you're
a question.
expanding.
Let me ask you a question. Dr. Dan puts his kids to bed every night, and he does like a guitar act. He spends 10 minutes. It's like a whole presentation he does when he puts his kids.
Who does this? I'm sorry.
So Dr. Dan, my
Me.
co-host, it's
Okay.
a guy next to you.
I didn't have the names of your
Dr. Dan Ratner. He does the whole
because
song
you
and
yell,
dance
when you
every
yell,
night.
I block it out.
Every night he does like a song and dance. I mean, it's seriously, it's like it's a 10-minute show, guitar.
Ross, let me tell.
Okay, go ahead.
So I won't bore you with the details too much, but every night when we're filming, at the end I say, "Listen, guys, I'm sorry, I got to get my kids to bed," and they make fun of me about this, but it's an important part of the day. I got to be with them. I have 2 daughters, and they.
And why do you
they did hate me, actually.
Why do you have to be with them, Doc? If I can ask.
For my own neurosis demands that I be there, but I also, part of me wants to be there. But it is a whole production, and so I say I'll be back soon, and then I come back like an hour and a half later. How long does bedtime take for you guys?
Well,
does she go to bed? I shouldn't assume.
I live for her sleep time. She goes to bed pretty late. For some reason, she's on my wife's schedule. I have a 2.5-year-old that falls asleep around 10. And I don't know how she goes to bed, because when it gets that late, I surrender to the wife. And I think the wife reads to her. But the child is a monster. So... But she's beautiful and funny, and I just let it happen. I'm letting nature take its course. I don't know if that's an approach to anyone outside of Tibet.
Yeah, well, but listen, I like that you call your family the wife and the kid. You didn't know my name for a while because Ross didn't, get the message across without yelling. But you don't know your wife and kid's name from the sounds of it, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge.
I don't need to. Because I look at us, we're all one. We're all just one unit. So I look at it as us.
Right.
But I break myself.
We are the us.
I break me away from us. So it's mostly I. So once again, I'm not really aware of them. I married for land. My wife is half my age, the good half. She's beautiful, and she has money. So I married for land. A lot of people get married for a green card. I got married for a green yard. She has about an acre, and I run around like a dog chasing a frisbee.
He really does. He has a great backyard. It's on Instagram almost every day. It's unbelievable.
And Ross, you'll like this. I also like to pee outdoors. I like nature, and my wife hated it at first until she started seeing her water bills plummet. The fact that I don't flush ever, it's an asset. Now at night, when I scratch the door to get out, she even opens it.
Hey, Kurt, another Kirk Fox fact, which people don't know.
We're working in facts?
We're drinking facts now. You were drafted by the Texas Rangers in baseball.
Well,
Tell us about that.
They wanted me, but a lot of teams did. But at the time, I didn't want to do anything. And what's great is I've carried that all the way till now. I wanted to play tennis and chase girls. So I decided against baseball. But later, I did try out for the Dodgers. Like maybe 8 years later, I said, maybe I should go try baseball because my tennis sucks. And I pulled a hammy running the 40. They were interested. So I'm one of the greatest athletes in the world.
This is incredible though, because I'm listen. I mean, the theme of this interview, as I can see, and this is what I do.
Was there a theme, Doc?
I think there was a theme. Yeah, here's the theme as I see it, and you tell me if I'm wrong. But I think
I'm not here to tell you if you're wrong.
Okay, so I'll just make my interpretation. You were born a dog, and you didn't really want to do that much, and you've stayed that way. And I see it. I mean, I don't know if you were actually born a dog. You seem like a human to me. But you don't.
What's the difference between a dog and a human? Just the name and a label. We all have hearts.
I think humans are a little less happy.
We all like to eat out of a bowl on the floor. So what's the difference?
Right, but I've never met you before today, but what I understand now is that you are a master at keeping it in a place where you don't do that much. And I appreciate that about you. You know, we're a sports show, and we barely touched on sports because you are a master at controlling the narrative and making it nothing.
I gotta say, I've worked hard to get where I'm not.
Well, that's great. You've done a great job.
But,
and
but as a doctor, you should also know that sports is life.
He knows
True.
that. Yeah,
So
that's true.
He's like a
whatever
Buddha.
we're talking about, you have pictures of sports behind you, so it's all one.
Yeah, you're a little like a disgruntled Buddha. I like it. The combination is great.
Except I'm not disgruntled.
Oh, well, there you just a Buddha.
I'm
You're
just
just
a
being.
man. I'm just a man trying to be at peace. I sleep well.
Well-
I'm kind to others. Occasionally, I tell some jokes. I'm in movies.
Let me just point out. Let me point out one last thing, Kirk, before we wrap up. Do you notice
now
how calm Ross
why
is
do we
now?
have to wrap up? Is it a 15-minute for real?
We could go a little
Hey,
longer.
we can keep going.
We could keep
No,
going.
I'm just
There's no
wondering if you guys
rule.
have places to
I'm
go.
taking a seat back because I
No.
was a little too aggressive with Kurt, and I felt bad that, he was a little uncomfortable with me being a little outrageous at times, and I get
Listen.
it. I'm Ross the boss, and I can be obnoxious, I can be loud, and I can control the room anytime I want. But I'm letting the guest. I'm letting the guest.
Look how we
tell
calmed
the
him
story.
down.
But
Kirk,
Ross,
you and I calmed him down.
exactly. Let me tell you something, Ross. You don't have to be as aggressive as you are, because the moment you start yelling, people retreat. You have all the knowledge, you have all the history and love. If I were you, the fact that you have boss in your name, you try and bully the room.
That's what the boss does, Kurt. But the boss, that's how
Are you happy
he
about
lives his life. He's loud, he's obnoxious, and he likes to get his point across. And if sometimes he has to be loud to do it. People like my personality.
I know, so do I.
It's trending.
But I'm saying, if you have to be loud to get your point across, maybe that's not the point you should be making.
Oh, see, this guy is a Buddha.
I can
See,
understand.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Kirk. I think we should just keep this interview going for. I mean, are you
Kirk-
free for the next day or two?
Kurt,
Well,
I've been watching.
You just have to decide where you have to be.
Kurt,
I'm
I've been
not-
watching tons of stuff on the streaming networks like HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu. I've been conquering all those things. Have you been watching any of those shows? Do you watch streaming service shows, or are you just down to watching cartoons with your kid?
Well, I watch a tree in the backyard.
I know. I love that tree. I
That,
do.
that seems to be enough for me. The child can watch what she wants. She's 2.5. She's making her own decisions. If she wants to watch cartoons, that's on her. I might hear it in the background, but basically I'm listening for things breaking.
Yep. And what kinds of things does she usually break? I have kids, so I know.
Doc, I got to be honest with you. I've taken out everything that could break.
Yep.
I think what I've learned as a father is let your child run free, but know everything in that area.
Yeah. See, I decided they don't know this about me because they know me from this room, but when I leave this
They
room,
don't
the
know
whole
about
house.
you because they don't let you talk.
That's true. That's true. You see how I had to kind of bust through, and I try to do it with calmness. So you know my plight. You could feel it
I
just
see
from the
it.
beginning.
You were so happy to just hear words.
It's
And-
filling
and-
my soul,
You
and
look
I
better.
need to tell you. Thank you, and I'm going to tell you this because I can't tell Ross this because he doesn't listen. But my entire house, because I have kids, is made of Nerf, because then it's totally safe,
Yeah.
And it's hard to walk on those stairs, though. I got to say, but if you fall down, it's no big deal.
No, Doc, you and I are very similar. We just want a safe environment, but we hover a little too much, but we're learning to give them some space, and I'm proud of us.
So, Kurt,
We're
have a
we're
question
one.
for you.
I appreciate this.
Kurt,
Hi, Ross, good to see you. We've had some laughs in here.
we had
Ross.
some laughs. So, Kurt, quick question before you go. They're opening comedy in Texas, Florida, even Las Vegas. They're starting to have stand up in these places. Are you going to perform in any of these states where stand up is being performed right now, or are you going to wait it out until California opens up?
Ross, I got to be honest with you. I'm definitely not going to go anywhere. In April, I will be going to Oklahoma. I'm on I will be in a new TV series on FX called Reservation Dogs. And I didn't want to work, but it looks like I'm going to have to. But stand-up comedy isn't necessary at the moment.
So Reservation Dogs, tell me about the show. I congratulations. I had no idea you're in a new series. Tell me about
Well,
it.
it's not my job to talk about it. It's your job as a host to investigate your guests.
Okay, let me guess what it is. Let me guess what it is. You play a cop that works on a reservation with Indians, Native Americans, and it's your job to keep peace amongst the reservation. Am I right?
No, but I like the fact that I could hear your words.
Yep.
Because you were slowing it down because you were thinking as you were going. And
I was thinking
that's what you are.
Reservation Dogs. So it has nothing to do with Native Americans, then, right?
It does, but I'm not playing a cop.
You don't play a cop.
Taika Waititi and Sterling Harjo created the show.
Okay.
And somehow I did a self-tape, and it happened to resonate with them. And they had even seen me do comedy at the Comedy Store. And next thing you know, I'm in a TV series on FX. So
is the Mustache in the series?
Mustache plays.
Mustache is it cost extra at the Mustache in the series?
Mustache is in play, and no, I let the Mustache come with me.
Okay.
I wanted to ask a question about that. With time, have you come to be more attached to your mustache? Is it more an important part of negotiations when you're working on, whether to be in a show? I was asked to be on a talk show, and they wanted me to shave my beard, and I was like, no, that's not happening. Never. My kids wouldn't recognize me.
Doc, I come from a long line of mustaches. My dad had a mustache. My mom had a mustache. It's really been a Fox trait. At the end of the day, law enforcement is always where I want to dance. I spend a lot of time hunting serial killers. So even as a Buddha, I still use my talent to make the world a better place. I had applied to the FBI after the Oklahoma City bombing. So it's always been something I'm interested in. So the mustache, I like it. Do I need it? No. But the daughter, she likes it. She likes daddy's mustache. And at the moment, that's okay. Does the wife like it? I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Kirk,
the other day, someone said, how tall is your wife? And I said, I don't know. I've never seen her standing.
It's a good joke. Kurt, before you leave.
Oh, am I leaving or are you leaving?
Before we leave, we will all leave, go our separate ways.
We'll all leave
I want you
together.
to tell us one of your new bits that you have ready to go for your special that you haven't done yet on stage. I want you to premiere it right here on MFSN.
Let me think. I don't really have new bits.
You gotta have new bits. You've been sitting there for 9 months not performing. What have you been doing?
Ross, aren't you aware this is his bit? This is him.
Exactly. The last thing.
Oh, where'd he go?
He lost him. Well, that was
I
Kirk
think that
Fox.
was the end of his bit.
That was it. He couldn't handle Ross the Boss. He's in the hot seat. He can't handle the truth. It's no reason that he can't handle being with us. So that was Kirk Fox. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Dr. Dan Ratner. If you like what you saw, subscribe, ring the bell, press like, do whatever you want to do. We'll see you next week.
So let me just tell you, this is the world we live in, Doc. And I'm not going to turn my phone because clearly we're winding this down. But my computer didn't have enough energy to continue. But Ross had asked me what I'm working on, and I'm working on nothing. And you said that this is my bit, but the truth is, I'm just trying to be seamless in life. I want to be the same way off stage that I am on stage. I just want to get up there and talk like I'm doing now. I want to be open, which is present, vulnerable, inviting. But Ross, here is something that is on my mind, and I'll tell you about it. If I can't touch your dog, don't call it a pet.
Yeah. Right.
And don't dress your dog up in clothing unless he's wanted by the police. Let me tell you why. The other day I was driving my car and I stopped to help what I thought was an old man just crawling across the intersection on his hands and knees in a tracksuit. And it just turned out to be a Great Dane in a tracksuit.
Right. Yeah.
And my buddy's like, couldn't you tell by the long droopy ears that was a dog? And I was like, no, my neighbor, 100 years old, same long droopy ears.
I know. As we
same
get old,
and also pees on the lawn. So no, I didn't know it was a dog.
Yeah.
And one last thing, Ross, because I know you appreciate strong comedy with layers. But my neighbor, 100 years old, when I met him, had a huge brass belt buckle that said Dick. And I didn't know whether it was his name or a reminder.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And I remember whispering to him as I met him, I was like, Dick. And he turned around and then he wet his pants. So I still don't know whether it's a name or a reminder. That's what I'm working on. That's it, Ross. These are just thoughts. I don't think I don't want to do stand-up comedy anymore. I just want to be stand-up comedy.
Kurt,
I don't want it to be a joke.
Kurt, you're still one of the funniest guys I know. Thanks for coming on. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Dr. Dan Ratner. That was Kirk Fox. And thank you for watching MFSN.
Thank you for sharing your Buddha wisdom. I appreciate it.
I love you guys.
We will go together.